It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball, but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving, not only myself, but just women's sports as a whole.
Caitlin Clark just became the first WNBA player to claim Time's Athlete of the Year. But not everyone is joining the celebration. It's become increasingly clear she has her share of haters, from Sheryl Swoopes, Aja Wilson, to Nalissa Smith, Diana Taurasi, and sadly, the list doesn't end there.
Sheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
In a twist that's both startling and yet oddly predictable, Sheryl Swoopes, four-time WNBA champion and now Clark's most outspoken critic, had plenty to say about the athlete's recent win. In today's segment, we'll break down the controversy, examine the backlash, and uncover the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. While Clark had the perfect moment to fire back, she chose a different route, leaving everyone utterly speechless. Here's why her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership.
And I've grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
Imagine this, Caitlin Clark riding high after earning Time Athlete of the Year, yet not everyone's raising a glass. Enter Sheryl Swoopes, former WNBA superstar turned unforeseen critic, stirring up drama on the Gills Arena podcast.
The fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Rather than praising Clark, Swoopes launches into a full-on tirade, openly challenging the very standards used to grant Clark her title. "I'm trying to understand what the criteria is," she says, her voice laced with disbelief. And she doesn't stop there. Swoopes rattles off a list of other contenders she believes should have earned the honor instead. The whole thing feels like a slow-motion train wreck, leaving fans and analysts alike puzzled and asking what's really at play.
This is just probably just the impact of the sport, a little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So,
Yeah, I mean,
when you think about,
you
just think about athletes of this year,
Yeah.
it's her, the swimmer.
What swimmer?
For Olympics.
Katie Ledecky.
Her performance.
Shit, you
know,
can put
in the
Simone
Olympics.
Biles back in there.
You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his Olympics.
As we delve further into Swoopes' remarks, a pattern starts to form. This isn't her first time taking aim at Clark. When Clark shattered the NCAA scoring record, Swoopes was quick to downplay it, questioning whether the accomplishment was all that remarkable given how much the game has evolved since the original milestone was set.
Put Aja Wilson in there.
That was just basketball.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or
It's global.
else?
Like, I think it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
What about Wilson? She demands, leaving everyone listening in stunned silence. Is this just a careless slip, or is there something more simmering beneath the surface? Swoopes' outburst lays bare a deeper struggle. It's not only about Clark now, it's the old guard facing off against the new era, tradition clashing with the future of women's basketball. Once the sport's leading figure, Swoopes now watches from the sidelines as Clark captivates a whole new generation of fans.
It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, you know, we are competitive by nature, and, you know, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserve.
The basketball world is left stunned. Swoopes, once a beacon of inspiration for countless young athletes, including a young Caitlin Clark, now appears bitter and disconnected. Her remarks ignite intense debates online, with fans and players alike taking sides. Yet here's the ironic twist. While Swoopes questions Clark's merit, Clark's star power only intensifies. Her record-breaking performances and swelling fan base speak volumes. The contrast is glaring. One athlete clinging to the past, the other blazing a trail into the future of women's basketball.
Well, it's been a crazy year. It's hard to think about. Like, I was basically just starting my senior year of college at this time last year. And then I graduated. I missed my college graduation, got drafted here in New York City, basically moved right to Indianapolis, and basically start like a whole new chapter of your life instantly, and you don't really have much time to adjust. But lucky enough, I had a really great support system and family around, and I'm from the Midwest, so didn't take me too long, but this past year has just been amazing.
How does Clark tackle this sudden wave of criticism? Does she lash out, stoking the flames? Or does she remain poised under pressure? Her approach to this conflict won't just shape her legacy, it could help reshape the entire landscape of women's basketball. Buckle up, because Clark is about to reveal the depths of her character.
It's fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them, so just really fortunate.
Remember when we said Clark was about to show us what she's made of? Well, her response to the Time Award controversy isn't just surprising, it's genuinely groundbreaking. She's redefining what leadership looks like in women's basketball. While Swoopes cast doubt, Clark continues to smash records and win over fans' hearts. How does she handle the criticism? Does she shoot back? Not at all. Clark takes the high road, and that choice has everyone talking.
The number of Indiana Fever fans I saw in young girls and the way they were lighting up, I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm so focused and so competitive, and I love the game. I love playing. I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed where, you know, it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road.
In her Time interview, Clark doesn't merely shrug off the controversy. She faces it head on with a level of maturity that's capturing everyone's attention. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom has been accompanied by a refreshing sense of self-awareness.
A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
But Clark doesn't stop there. She makes a point of recognizing the legends who laid the groundwork for her success. And guess who she gives credit to? Sheryl Swoopes herself. It's a move that proves Clark isn't just an elite talent on the court. She's a class act off it as well.
Thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA. Have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
So what's the
Clark's reply? It's more than simply rising above the fray. It's a masterclass in handling criticism with grace, transforming a potentially negative moment into something uplifting. She's not just standing up for her own achievements, she's raising the bar for the entire dialogue surrounding women's basketball.
I remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player, wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on, like, basketball isn't my everything. Like, yeah, I love it, and I get to do it, and given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person.
The contrast between Clark's approach and Swoopes' remarks couldn't be more stark. While Swoopes questions and criticizes, Clark chooses to celebrate and uplift. This strategy isn't just winning her new fans, it's quieting her critics in the most impactful way possible. Don't mistake Clark's kindness for weakness, though. Her words carry real weight, and her actions speak volumes. She's showing that you don't have to tear others down to elevate yourself. In fact, by paying tribute to those who came before her, Clark is securing her own legacy in basketball history.
Know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career.
As the controversy fades, one truth stands out. Clark's handling of the situation has transformed what could have been a divisive episode into a moment of unity for women's basketball. She's demonstrated that it's possible to be both a fierce competitor on the court and a gracious leader off it. But the story doesn't end here. Clark's poised response has paved the way for a much broader conversation. How will the rest of the basketball community react to this display of sportsmanship and class? Stay tuned, because the reactions are about to roll in, and they may just surprise you.
But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years, so I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Clark's triumph and Swoopes' critique didn't just grab headlines. They sparked a wildfire of debate across the basketball landscape. Opinions are swirling at lightning speed, faster than one of Clark's signature three-pointers, and everyone wants their say. Let's break down the reactions. On Clark's side, a whole army of supporters has turned up. Fans are flooding social media with admiration for the rising star, applauding her poise under pressure and calling out Swoopes for what they view as a bitter backlash. As one fan tweeted, Clark's response shows she's already a legend in the making. Swoopes could learn a thing or two about sportsmanship.
And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day, and I know have my best interests at heart too.
How will all this drama shape Clark's future in the WNBA? That's the million-dollar question. Some believe the controversy might heap extra pressure on her next season. Others argue it's only adding fuel to her competitive fire, potentially setting the stage for a dominant sophomore year and maybe even an MVP run. But here's what nobody can dispute. Clark's influence is undeniable. WNBA ticket sales are soaring, and television ratings for women's college basketball have never been higher. Even viewers who've never followed the women's game are tuning in just to watch Clark play. The numbers don't lie. Clark isn't merely a player, she's a phenomenon. And she's redefining the landscape of the sport.
I'm just scratching the surface of the things I want to accomplish, and I'm 22. I'm still figuring out life. I'm still figuring out where everything's going to go, and I love basketball, and basketball has brought me so many amazing things, and that will continue to be probably my first passion and everything that I enjoy. And hopefully once basketball ends, I can still find things that I'm really passionate about and can do. Hopefully be an owner of a sports team one day, or open a restaurant. I don't know. Something fun. A little less stressful, maybe. Maybe a coffee shop or something. I don't know.
Clark's impact isn't just about one award or one controversy. It's about the future of the game. While some question the criteria behind her Time Athlete of the Year win, Clark's response, acknowledging the greats who came before her, even Sheryl Swoopes, has been a masterclass in grace and leadership. Instead of firing back, she's elevating the conversation. Her style of play, highlighted by long-range shooting and raw emotion, is inspiring young athletes to pick up a basketball and believe in their own potential. Fans are tuning in like never before, and ticket sales and TV ratings reflect her growing influence. Clark's authenticity off the court, making time for fans and remembering what it's like to be the kid in the crowd, resonates on a personal level. This isn't just about Clark and Swoopes, it's about the entire trajectory of women's basketball. The sport stands at a crossroads, balancing respect for its legends with the rise of new stars who are redefining what's possible. Clark's story is bringing more attention, more debate, and more excitement to the WNBA. She's not merely breaking records, she's reshaping perceptions, inspiring a new generation, and turning the spotlight onto women's basketball like never before. As we watch Clark's journey unfold, it's clear the game is evolving before our eyes. Her rise signals a new era, one in which women's sports command center stage and future players dream even bigger. The sport will never be the same, and that's exactly the point.
Today, she has released, well, she's not released, it has been announced that her shoe is going to be dropped this week, and we can see what it looks like.
Nike's decision has ignited widespread outrage, with fans left questioning the company's priorities.
So Paige Bueckers is arguably the best player in college basketball right now. She's had a really good start to the season, and again, she's a 23-year-old dominating against 18-year-olds. She should be.
While Paige Bueckers makes history as the first college athlete with a Nike sneaker, Caitlin Clark, widely regarded as one of the most electrifying players in women's basketball, remains notably absent from the spotlight.
So Nike's first Paige Bueckers shoe drops this week. So Caitlin Clark has not had a shoe. By the way, she's had nothing. She's had nothing except the Rookie of the Year top.
How did Nike miss the mark with their biggest star? Was this a calculated strategy or an outright blunder? This is the story of how Nike's latest move has divided fans and ignited controversy in women's basketball. By unveiling a signature shoe for Paige Bueckers, while seemingly sidelining Caitlin Clark, Nike has sparked shockwaves across the sports world. What should have been a groundbreaking moment for women's basketball has quickly spiraled into a PR crisis, with fans, analysts, and casual observers alike questioning the brand's priorities. The controversy goes beyond the sneaker. It's about how Nike's decision is being interpreted as a glaring snub of Caitlin Clark, a player widely recognized as the face of women's basketball.
Nike signed Bueckers in September 2023, where she frequently wore the GT Hustle 2 on court. She signed several NIL deals. So, Nike signed Caitlin Clark in 2022. Nada. Nike signed Paige Bueckers in 2023. Signature shoe straight away.
Fans are outraged, flooding social media with calls for action, including boycotts of Nike products. How do you ignore Caitlin Clark, the best player in women's basketball? One fan tweeted. Another added, Nike just doesn't get it. Disrespecting Caitlin Clark is unacceptable, and I'm done buying their products. These frustrations are mirrored in fan forums, where debates over Nike's priorities dominate discussions. Some fans are even posting videos of themselves discarding Nike gear, while others are pledging to switch to competitors like Adidas or Under Armour. The backlash is undeniable, and the noise is only getting louder. The irony of this controversy is rooted in Caitlin Clark's undeniable greatness. She doesn't need brands to validate her. Brands need her. At just 22, Clark has transcended college basketball, becoming a household name in sports overall. Her record-breaking performances, exceptional leadership, and ability to draw massive crowds have cemented her status as a superstar. Her jaw-dropping shots and playmaking skills regularly go viral, captivating basketball fans across the globe and proving that her impact speaks for itself.
It's cool. And look, I think it's simultaneously, it's okay to say it's really cool that Paige Becker's getting her shoe, but Nike fumbled Caitlin Clark so badly.
The controversy highlights a larger issue with Nike's approach to sports marketing. While Buchers is undeniably talented and deserving of recognition, many feel that Clark's cultural and athletic impact has reached unprecedented levels. Her performances consistently draw massive audiences, and her highlights frequently go viral, captivating basketball fans worldwide. For a brand as influential as Nike, sidelining such a star feels like a glaring missed opportunity. Nike's decision not to launch a Caitlin Clark signature shoe has also raised concerns about their ability to connect with their audience. Fans argue that Clark's dominance and charisma make her the perfect candidate to lead a campaign that could transcend sports and become a cultural moment. Instead, Nike's move has been widely interpreted as tone-deaf, sparking backlash that continues to grow. This misstep has opened the door for competitors like Adidas and Under Armour to step in and align themselves with Clark, whose marketability continues to soar. A Caitlin Clark signature shoe could not only boost sales, but also send a powerful message about valuing women's sports. If Nike doesn't act quickly, they risk losing one of the brightest stars in basketball to a rival brand. For now, Caitlin Clark's star power shines brighter than ever. She doesn't need a signature shoe to prove her greatness. Her talent and influence speak for themselves. However, for Nike, this situation serves as a wake-up call. The backlash has shown that fans are paying attention, demanding better representation, and willing to hold brands accountable. If Nike fails to recognize Clark's value, it risks falling behind in the rapidly evolving landscape of women's sports marketing. Did you hear the latest uproar in the WNBA? Diana Taurasi, one of the league's all-time greats, is openly furious about being compared to rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. Taurasi believes that as a seasoned veteran, she deserves more respect and recognition, pushing back against claims that Clark is outperforming her. Taurasi, who has consistently been a cornerstone of the Phoenix Mercury, feels that the comparisons are undermining her legacy. "I've dedicated my life to this game," Taurasi stated in a recent interview. "Being compared to a rookie who's just starting her journey isn't fair. I deserve better recognition for my years of hard work and achievements." But let's talk numbers. Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of phenomenal this past season. She's averaged 22 points per game, leading the league in assists with 9.5 per game, and boasts a three-point shooting percentage of 40%. In contrast, Taurasi averaged 18 points, 5 assists, and shooting 35% from beyond the arc. Clark also holds the record for the most assists in a single season, showcasing her playmaking prowess that has transformed the Indiana Fever into one of the top teams in the league. Clark's impact goes beyond just the stats. She's revitalized the Fever, turning a struggling team into playoff contenders with her leadership and dynamic play. While Taurasi has been a consistent performer, Clark's explosive performances have captured the spotlight, leading many to argue that she's the more valuable player this season. Taurasi's frustration is understandable. After over 2 decades in the league, she's amassed 5 WNBA championships, 2 MVP awards, and countless accolades. Yet, in the eyes of some fans and analysts, a rookie is already outshining her. This has sparked a heated debate about the criteria for valuing veteran players versus rising stars. Critics of the comparisons point out that Clark's all-around game and statistical dominance make her a strong MVP contender. However, supporters of Taurasi argue that experience, leadership, and clutch performances in high-stakes games are just as important, if not more so, than raw statistics. The controversy reached its peak when Taurasi confronted the narrative head-on. "Comparing me to Caitlin is like comparing apples to oranges," she said. "Experience and consistency matter. Caitlin is incredible, but she's still learning. I've been here, building this league, and I expect to be treated with the respect that comes with that." Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to excel, proving that her rookie season is one for the history books. Her ability to score, distribute, and make game-winning plays has earned her a legion of fans and a prominent spot in MVP discussions. As the season progresses, the rivalry between Taurasi and Clark highlights the evolving dynamics of the WNBA, where veterans and rookies alike are pushing each other to new heights. The debate isn't just about who has better stats, it's about what makes a player truly valuable. Is it the ability to dominate the scoreboard, the knack for making teammates better, or the experience to lead a team through tough times? Taurasi and Clark represent different facets of greatness, and their comparison raises important questions about how we honor and recognize talent in the league. As the WNBA season heats up, all eyes are on Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark. Taurasi's call for better treatment of veterans and Clark's undeniable rise are shaping the conversation around player value and legacy. Whether you side with Taurasi's experience or Clark's impressive stats, one thing is clear: the future of the WNBA is bright, with both legends and rising stars driving the game forward. What do you think? Should veteran experience weigh more heavily in MVP considerations? Or should outstanding rookie performances like Caitlin Clark's take center stage? Could Satou Sabally join Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever? This could be the biggest WNBA story of the offseason, and the digital clues Sabally has been leaving suggest it's more than just speculation. Recently, the Indiana Fever said goodbye to Temi Fagbenle, one of their key players early in the season. While this may seem like a typical off-season move, it could be setting the stage for something massive. Satou Sabally, the Dallas Wings all-star forward, has made it clear she's a free agent and has been subtly hinting at her interest in joining the Fever. From strategically liking social media posts to engaging with content about teaming up with Caitlin Clark, Sabally's actions are speaking volumes.
So she's come out and said she's a free agent. And then, Overtime said, Satou teaming up with Caitlin, kinda here for that narrative.
On Instagram, Sabally has been particularly active. After announcing her free agency, she began liking posts about the Fever and their potential super team with Caitlin Clark. What's notable is her complete lack of engagement with posts from fans of other teams, including vocal Chicago Sky supporters. This is calculated. Sabally has even liked fan-created graphics showing her in a Fever jersey, something rare in a league where players typically avoid tampering speculation. This isn't just random behavior. The timing and pattern of her activity suggest intent. After the college season began and Caitlin Clark started dominating headlines, Sabally's engagement with Indiana-related content escalated. It's clear she's intrigued by what the Fever are building. Why does this matter? The Fever are at a pivotal moment. They have Aaliyah Boston, who had a historic season, and of course, we all know what Caitlin Clark has been up to. But they still need a veteran superstar to complete the picture. Sabally, at 6 feet 4 inches with guard-like skills, could be the missing piece. Last season, Sabally averaged nearly 19 points and 8.5 rebounds per game. She's a versatile forward who can stretch the floor, defend multiple positions, and dominate in the paint. Pairing her with Boston and Clark would create a lineup that's not just competitive, but potentially dominant for years. And let's not forget Kelsey Mitchell, a proven scorer who would thrive with defenses unable to focus solely on her. But how could the Fever actually get Sabally? The Wings could use the core designation to retain her rights, similar to the franchise tag in other sports. However, history shows that forcing players to stay often backfires. Elena Delle Donne and Diana Taurasi both pushed their way to preferred destinations despite being cored. A sign and trade deal might be the best solution for all parties. A likely trade package could include Nalissa Smith, the 8th pick in the upcoming draft, and a future first-round pick. Smith is a promising young forward with significant upside, and the draft pick would allow Dallas to add more young talent. For the Fever, giving up these assets is worth it to secure a proven superstar like Sabally. This potential move isn't just about the Fever, it's about the league. With super teams already established in New York and Las Vegas, the WNBA needs another team to balance the competitive landscape. Adding Sabally to a young core led by Boston and Clark could make Indiana that team. It would also shift the narrative around Indiana as a free agent destination, turning them into one of the most exciting franchises in the league. The timing is perfect for both Sabally and the Fever. At 25 years old, Sabally is entering her prime. The Fever have cap space to offer a max contract without compromising their roster, thanks to their young core still being on rookie deals. Bringing in Sabally would solidify their transformation from a rebuilding team to a legitimate contender. This move could also have a ripple effect beyond basketball. The Fever would instantly become one of the most marketable teams in the league, drawing attention to a smaller market and contributing to the WNBA's growth. Sabally joining forces with Clark and Boston wouldn't just create a team, it would create a dynasty capable of dominating the league for years to come. Is the WNBA racist? Some would say so, but let's discuss some facts and numbers first. By all means, this was the best year the WNBA has ever had. They set an all-time record for total television viewers, reaching 54 million people. They also set an all-time record for the number of broadcasts that hit at least 1 million viewers. The league saw its highest total attendance in more than 2 decades, with a massive 50% increase compared to last year. The All-Star Game broke new ground with a staggering 10 million fan votes, a more than 500% increase from the previous year. The Indiana Fever, the team Caitlin Clark plays for, managed to set an all-time single-season attendance record for a WNBA team. Beyond that, the league saw a 350% year-over-year growth in subscriptions to their paid streaming service. Add to that more social media engagement, more sellout crowds, more news coverage, and more merchandise sales than ever before. It's the kind of season that WNBA executives likely never imagined was possible. Now, given all these remarkable achievements, how much money do you think the WNBA made this year? How much revenue could such a groundbreaking season bring in? What kind of profit do you think they were able to achieve? Earlier in the year, there were reports suggesting that the WNBA's finances weren't looking great, and now that the final numbers are in, those estimates have proven to be pretty accurate. According to the New York Post, the WNBA lost $40 million this year. Yes, during its best season ever, the league still managed to operate at a loss of $40 million. They exceeded nearly every metric for growth and engagement, and yet failed to turn a profit. This isn't just a bad year financially, it's a pattern. The WNBA has never been profitable in its entire history, and at this point, it's difficult to see how that could ever change. It's a concept fundamentally at odds with reality, because the majority of Americans simply aren't interested in watching women's basketball. Even during a record-breaking year like this one, the numbers show that interest still isn't enough to sustain the league financially. This backdrop makes Caitlin Clark's recent interview with Time magazine particularly interesting. Time, which still exists, recently named Clark their Athlete of the Year and featured her on the cover. In the article, Clark made a statement that's simultaneously revealing and controversial. Here's the part that stands out, directly from Time magazine. "I want to say I've earned every single thing. But as a white person, there is privilege, says Clark. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. There are two things happening here. First, Clark is crediting black women with building the WNBA. Without them, she argues, the league wouldn't exist. While this might be intended as a compliment, it's a bit like praising someone for founding a business that consistently loses millions of dollars. However, even this claim isn't entirely accurate. The WNBA was built and is still financially sustained by the NBA. Without the NBA's funding and support, the WNBA wouldn't exist at all. She goes further to say that black women deserve to be elevated and celebrated, which makes it clear why she's saying this. She's protecting her endorsements and her status in the WNBA by endorsing a narrative that aligns with modern progressive ideals. What's interesting is that Clark's words come after and during a season in which she faced relentless abuse on the court. Whether it was being knocked over, poked in the eye, or shoulder-checked, Clark was repeatedly targeted, and in some cases even taunted afterward. Yet, despite this treatment, she's out here claiming that she has privilege. As a white woman in the WNBA, her experience suggests anything but privilege. What she does have is undeniable talent. Clark set records as a rookie, including the most points, the most assists, and becoming the fastest player to reach 300 points. Her performance is the reason she's a standout, not her race. However, her willingness to embrace the narrative of privilege, even after the way she was treated on the court, raises questions about whether she's doing so out of conviction or necessity. The WNBA, for all its growth and engagement, remains a business with fundamental issues. Even in its best year, it couldn't come close to profitability. Clark's commentary highlights the league's reliance on all players, but doesn't address the underlying problem. The WNBA is asking for an audience that largely doesn't exist. The record-breaking engagement figures show progress, but they also show limits. A majority of Americans still aren't tuning in, even when the league reaches its peak. In the end, the WNBA's challenges go far beyond racial dynamics or privilege. The league's financial woes point to a deeper issue: its inability to convert interest into sustainable revenue. Caitlin Clark's remarks may spark conversations, but they don't change the reality that the WNBA is, at its core, a business struggling to justify its existence in the sports market.
I'm really excited for this new beginning and to build something from the ground up here with the Valkyries.
As the WNBA undergoes its first expansion in nearly 20 years, the Golden State Valkyries step onto the scene, poised to make a significant impact. Kate Martin makes her much-anticipated return to the court, now proudly wearing the new franchise's jersey and shouldering immense expectations. Unfortunately, A'ja Wilson is displeased with this development and appears to hold resentment toward Kate, viewing her actions as a betrayal.
Yeah, honestly, my focus has just been getting better. I mean, all around. I had a decent rookie season, but I just know something that's really cool about me is that my ceiling is very high.
Meanwhile, reigning MVP A'ja Wilson is feeling increasing pressure as she watches rivals and newcomers aggressively enhance their game. With Caitlin Clark already emerging as the next major star, brace yourself for a season that promises a true transformation on the court. Envision the scenario after many years without a significant shift. The WNBA is finally undergoing a substantial expansion. The last time something of this magnitude occurred was nearly 2 decades ago, And now the Golden State Valkyries are stepping into the league with all the fanfare and excitement.
I have a lot of room to grow. Always working on my shot, always working on being quicker, but
Behind the scenes, analysts, players, and fans were restless, eagerly speculating about the names selected in the WNBA expansion draft. Amid corridor whispers, leaked information, and bold assumptions, one name stood out: Kate Martin, officially chosen by the Golden State Valkyries. Her acquisition is poised to shift the league's power dynamics, directly impacting established stars like current MVP A'ja Wilson. With the Valkyries entering the league amidst the first major expansion in nearly 2 decades, Kate Martin becomes a central figure for the ambitious new franchise. Her presence not only energizes the already massive fan base, but also signifies the Valkyries' intent to make a significant mark. This move heightens the competition for A'ja Wilson, who now faces intensified pressure from new teams, emerging talents, and the rising star Caitlin Clark, who is quickly becoming a top contender for the MVP title. The upcoming season is set to be transformative, with the WNBA experiencing a true revolution on the court. The Golden State Valkyries, backed by Kate Martin, are ready to challenge the status quo, while the Indiana Fever are meticulously rebuilding to reclaim their prominence. This creates a multifaceted threat landscape for Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces as they navigate not only traditional rivals, but also fresh talent eager to ascend. Caitlin Clark's emergence adds another layer of excitement and tension. Her offensive prowess, court vision, and magnetic personality position her as a formidable rival to Wilson, potentially leading to a fierce MVP showdown. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, despite losing some players in the expansion draft, are strategically assembling a team hungry for victory, ensuring that the competition remains fierce and unpredictable. As the WNBA grows with new teams and rising stars, the stage is set for a season filled with tight confrontations, strategic trades, and intense behind-the-scenes maneuvers. The clash between the Golden State Valkyries, Indiana Fever, Las Vegas Aces, and standout players like A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark will define the league's future. Fans can look forward to thrilling matchups and the rise of new legends as the WNBA continues to evolve. The central question remains: who will emerge victorious as the league undergoes these profound transformations? Will Kate Martin lead the Valkyries to success and become their iconic face? Can the Indiana Fever reinvent themselves and challenge the established powerhouses? And will A'ja Wilson maintain her MVP status against the rising threat of Caitlin Clark? These answers will unfold on the court, making the upcoming season one of the most exciting and pivotal in WNBA history.